Welcome to part 3 of physics chapter laws of motion. So today before we start with the numericals based on the second law of Newton's second law of motion, I would just want to give you a little revision of what this chapter has been till now all about. So we were focusing on a concept called force. Force is basically cause of acceleration in any motion in the motion of any body. Okay, so force is responsible for reducing acceleration. Force is nothing but a push or a pull. Then we studied about the effects of forces. It can produce acceleration, right? Like that, like it can stop a moving body, it can move a body at rest, it can increase the speed of moving body, it can decrease the speed of moving body, it can change the direction of a moving body. That means produce acceleration. It can change shape or size or both of a body, and it can rotate a body. It can produce rotational effect in any body. Then we studied the types of forces. So basically, uh, when we started understanding how forces, we went through balanced force, balanced forces. Balanced forces keep the body in its original state. Balanced forces keep the body in equilibrium. Balanced forces do not change the state of rest or of uniform motion of a body. Balanced forces do not produce acceleration in any body. Such are balanced forces. Okay, balanced forces produce no acceleration in any body. Okay, it keeps the body in the state of equilibrium. Now, equilibrium does not mean the state of rest. Equilibrium means state of rest or of uniform motion with zero acceleration. Then we also studied unbalanced forces. Unbalanced forces are the forces which produce acceleration in any body. They are the main responsible reason for producing acceleration in any body, right? Then I talked about resultant forces. So when balanced forces are acting on body, the resultant means the sum of all the forces, total force, the effect of all the forces. Resultant force, when a body when the body is in equilibrium or balanced forces are acting on a body, resultant force is equal to zero, right? Forces are acting on a body, when unbalanced forces are acting on a body, resultant of all the forces is not zero. Resultant force is not equal to zero when unbalanced forces are acting on a body. Okay. Then I'm giving you a map sort of so you can understand what is our journey. Okay. Then we studied regarding the major types of forces that are those are contact forces and non-contact forces. In contact forces, we studied about frictional force, right? Frictional force. Then we studied about tension force, force of tension. Then force due to collision, right? then spring force. These were all the types of contact forces where the two bodies are in contact to apply the force on each other. Non-contact forces, when two bodies are, they don't have to be in contact with each other to exert force on each other. Gravitational force. Gravitational. Gravitational force. Then comes electrostatic force. Then comes magnetic force, right? Out of which gravitational force is only attractive in nature. Attractive means when two uh, bodies exert gravitational force on each other, they can only attract each other. They cannot repel each other. But electrostatic and magnetic force is of a nature where there is attraction as well as repulsion. Attraction between unlike poles of a magnet or unlike charges, and repulsion between like poles of a magnet or like charges. Okay, these non-contact forces follow a very peculiar law which is known as inverse square law. What is this inverse square law? So these forces are inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the bodies on which they are acting. If the distance becomes double, the force becomes 1/4. If the distance between two bodies becomes double, the force becomes 1/4. And if the distance becomes half, then the force becomes 4 times. So that is the inverse square law which we studied about. So that was the first video in which I covered all these topics in detail. In the second video, I did not talk about the first law of motion. In the first video, I talked about Newton's first law of motion, which states that a body in rest remains at rest and a body in motion continues to be in a motion, uniform motion in a straight line, unless and until an external force is applied on it. So this law, Newton's first law actually describes a very you can say significant property of all matter, all bodies, all substances, which is known as inertia. So inertia is a property due to which a body does not change its state of rest or state of uniform motion. And inertia is directly dependent on mass. More the mass, more will be the inertia, and less the mass, less will be the inertia, right? So we studied about inertia and Newton's first law, and then we did some examples. We went through some examples like if you shake a branch, the branch comes in motion, but the leaves and the fruits which are attached with the branch, they do not come in motion. And that's why they don't want to change their inertia of rest, and they get detached from the branch and they fall down. Then when you beat a carpet with a stick, the carpet changes its inertia because we are applying force on carpet. So it changes its inertia from inertia of rest to inertia of motion. But the dust particles which are settled on the surface of carpet do not change their inertia of rest, and they remain where they are. Carpet moves behind, dust particles remain where they are, and the wind comes and blows them away. That's how we beat the carpet and make it free of dust. Then I think we talked about that card, coin, and a glass. Flick the card, coin falls inside the glass. So these and many more examples are there to understand inertia and what is the effect of force on a body when it has got some certain amount of inertia. Then came the second video where we started with a new term, which was momentum. Momentum is the product of, momentum symbol is P, it's actually small p. The symbol of momentum is small p, and it is the product of mass and velocity of a body. Its SI unit is kg meter per second, right? Then we studied about force and how it is related with the rate of change of momentum. The whole, the derivation of the formula for force, I'm not going to write that all over again, but I can tell you the Newton's second law of motion, which gives us the definition of force, or you can say formula for force. So Newton's second law of motion states that the force exerted on a body is directly proportional to the rate of change of momentum produced in the body by the force. More force exerted on a body, rate of change of momentum will be higher, and vice versa. So from this and from the you can say formula for momentum, we finally found out the formula for force, which was mass into acceleration. And the SI unit which we understood first was kg meter per second square, which was nothing but Newton. The CGS unit was gram centimeter per second square, which was known as dyne, and 1 Newton was 10 raised to 5 dyne. There was a gravitational unit of force also, which was kgf. So 1 kgf is equal to 9.8 Newton. Right? So these informations we had, and then we saw some practical examples of applications of Newton's second law, which was why cricketers choose to withdraw their hand while catching a ball. Why do we feel a jerk in the forward direction when we are traveling in a vehicle and suddenly brakes are applied? Why do we feel jerk when we are sitting in a vehicle and suddenly the vehicle starts or train starts? Why at the time of boarding, oh sorry, alighting, that is jumping out of a moving vehicle, a train or a bus, we must keep running ahead for a little bit rather than directly coming to rest, right? See, all these things were discussed in detail in the last class. So today we are, I think, ready to start with the solved examples. So our concept of force and Newton's laws, which we have studied till date, will become very, very clear on the on understanding these applications of Newton's laws. So please note that the formulae which we have studied before this chapter, that is in the previous chapter, that is equations of motion, V is equal to U plus AT, S is equal to UT plus half AT square, and V square is equal to U square plus 2AS. These three formulae will also come into play. We have to apply these three formulae as well in some of the cases. So don't think that, okay, let's forget the equations of motion and will begin new. You cannot begin new. You have to understand those concepts very well to apply them over here, right? You'll understand. Let's start with the first question. Now, how do we solve these questions? See, the problem solving tactics are discussed over here. Let me tell you, let me read this for you because this is like very important. Step 1, read the question carefully and visualize the situation. Think as if the process is happening in front of you. First thing. Second, draw the relevant figure and write the given parameters. Now, drawing a figure is not always necessary, but yeah, if you do that, it will make the problem more clearer for you. And always write what is given and what has to be found out. Third step, make sure all the values which are given to you and which are to be found out are in the same set of units, either CGS unit or SI unit. Plan the concept or formulae which are to be used, right? So you have to think that first this formula will be used, then this formula will be used. Avoid doing calculations in each step. Try to do all the calculation at the final step to save time. Very nice, you can say, set of rules or ideas which are given over here. If you apply them, you will see that your problem solving ability has improved a lot. Let's do it. Let's show you how to do it. Number one, what would be the force required to produce? What would be the force required? So F is question mark. To produce an acceleration of 2 meter per second square. 2 meter per second square. Okay, so what would be the force required to produce an acceleration of 2 meter per second square on a body of mass 12 kg? Mass is equal to 12 kg. What would be its acceleration if the force was doubled? Okay, so that's the second question. So case 1. In case 1, we'll use the formula F is equal to mass into acceleration. Force is not given. Mass is 12 kg. Acceleration is 2 meter per second square. Both are SI units. So force will be 24 Newton. Now in case 2, what they are asking is, if the force will become double, that is the force becomes double of its value, that is 48 Newton, and the mass remains same, 12 kg, what would be the acceleration? Let's find out. So force is equal to mass into acceleration. Force becomes 48 Newton. Mass remains the same. Acceleration is not known. So 48 divided by 12 is equal to A. Therefore, acceleration becomes 4 meter per second square. Okay. So these are the answers. This is the method how you solve it. 24 Newton, 4 meter per second square. Correct? Yeah, so one statement they have written here. If the mass remains the same, doubling the force will double the acceleration. So force, you can say if mass is constant, you can write this, you can note it down. If mass is constant, force is directly proportional to acceleration. If force doubles, acceleration also doubles. Next question. A motorcycle is moving with a velocity of 90 km per hour. So initial velocity is 90 km per hour. Let's convert it into meter per second, shall we? Okay. So 90 into 5 by 18, which is 25 meter per second. So a motorcycle is moving with 25 meter per second velocity and takes 5 seconds to stop. So time taken is 5 seconds after the brakes are applied. So final velocity becomes 0 meter per second. Okay. Calculate the force exerted. Calculate the force exerted by the brakes. Calculate the force exerted by the brakes on the motorcycle if its mass along with the rider is 200 kg. So mass of the motorcycle is 200 kg along with the rider. We have to find the force. See, for finding force, we know the formula is force is equal to mass multiplied by acceleration. We have been given the mass. We don't have acceleration and we don't have force also. For finding acceleration, for finding force, we need acceleration. We have been given initial velocity, final velocity, and time. Is there any way to find acceleration? Of course there is. So using the first equation of motion, v is equal to u plus at, v is 0, u is 25, a acceleration is not known, time is 5 seconds. So minus 25, this 25 shifts there, is equal to 5a. Minus 25 by 5 is equal to a. So a is equal to minus 5 meter per second square. Acceleration produces negative because the brakes are applied, right? So now we can find the force. So force is equal to 200, that is the mass, multiplied by minus 5. So force is equal to minus 1000 Newton. So it's basically a retarding force. So we can say that therefore retarding force can be negative. It's a retarding force. Retarding force exerted by the brakes, retarding force exerted by the brakes is equal to minus 1000 Newton. Retarding force exerted by the brakes is equal to, wait, if you are using the word retarding, then don't put minus sign. Okay, retarding force exerted by the brakes is equal to 1000 Newton, or force is equal to minus 1000 Newton. Both are correct answer. Understood? Very easy, right? If your concept of physics from beginning has been very clear, you'll be solving these numericals very easily. If not, then you have to learn at every new example. You have to continue learning till your concept becomes crystal clear. But I hope you can catch up very soon, because the way I'm teaching, I'm not taking it very fast. Okay, next question. A cricket ball of mass 70 kg, 70 grams, I'm sorry. Mass is equal to 70 grams, which is equal to 70 upon 1000, which is nothing but 0.07 kg, is moving with a velocity of 0.5 meter per second. Initial velocity is stopped by a player in 0.5 seconds time. What is the force applied by the player to stop the ball? So final velocity is 0 meter per second, and we have to find the force, assuming the force to be constant. Yes, definitely the force will be constant. Let's first find out the acceleration. So v is equal to u plus at. V is 0, u is 0.5, plus acceleration we don't know. Time is also 0.5 seconds. So minus 0.5 is equal to 0.5 into a. So minus 0.5 upon 0.5 is equal to a. Therefore acceleration is minus 1 meter per second square. It's a negative acceleration because we are stopping the ball. Okay, so now what is the force required? So force is equal to mass into acceleration. Mass is 0.07 multiplied by acceleration is minus 1. So force is equal to minus 0.07 Newton. Force is equal to minus 0.07 Newton. Okay, so a negative force means a retarding force. Now, the force exerted on the ball is negative. Okay, uh, what is the force applied by the player to stop the ball? I think the player is applying positive force because he is applying force and he is stopping the ball. So the force exerted by player will be positive, right? Okay, let's check the answer. I think the answer should be positive. No, it's negative only. Okay. So minus 0.07. I think we are correct. We are just getting confused with the sign. No need. You can leave the answer here itself. So the player is applying minus 0.07 Newton of force. Next question. A constant force acts on an object of mass 5 kg. So mass of an object is 5 kg. A constant force is acting on it for 2 seconds. Time is equal to 2 seconds. This constant force, which we don't know, it increases the velocity of this object from 3 meter per second to 7 meter per second. So initial velocity is 3 meter per second. Final velocity is 7 meter per second. Find the magnitude of applied force. Find the magnitude of applied force. And now if the force was applied for further duration of 5 seconds, what would be the final velocity of the object? Okay, now try to understand. Uh, since past 3 questions, we are doing the same thing. They have given us initial velocity, final velocity, time. They have not given us acceleration, they have given us mass, so we can find the force. So let's first do that and then read the question ahead. So V is equal to U plus AT. So 7 is V, U is 3 plus A into 2. So 7 minus 3 is equal to 2A. So 4 by 2 is equal to A, and therefore acceleration is 2 meter per second square. So the force will become mass into acceleration, which is 5 into 2, which is 10 Newton. Okay, so we've got the force as well. Now what? If the I'm sorry. Now, if the force was applied for a further duration of 5 seconds, if the force was now applied for a further duration of 5 seconds, what would be the final velocity of the object? What would be the final velocity of the object? Okay, now see, the force is being applied. Okay, 10 Newton force, constant force is being applied. The velocity at the time after 2 seconds. Okay, before 2 seconds the velocity of 3 seconds. In 2 seconds the velocity changed from 3 seconds to 7 seconds when the force was applied. So the final velocity now is 7 meter per second. So we will start our case from this particular velocity. So for us the initial velocity now will become 7 meter per second, because we have to think ahead कि आगे क्या होगा. ठीक है, इनिशियल वेलोसिटी कितना हो गया 7 मीटर पर सेकेंड. और what about the final velocity? We have to find that, and the force will be applied for further 5 seconds. So time is 5 seconds. How much force will be applied? Force applied will be 10 Newton. On which body the force is applied? Of mass 5 kg. How much acceleration does this force produce? We know it already, 2 meter per second square. So what do we have to find? The final velocity of the body. So V is equal to U plus AT should be sufficient to find that. So V is equal to U, that is 7, plus A, that is 2, into T, that is 5. So V is equal to 7 plus 10, which is 17 meter per second. So if this force is continuously applied for further 5 seconds, the final velocity of the object will become 17 meter per second. Let's check. The force is 10 Newton and final velocity is 17 meter per second. Force is 10 Newton and final velocity is 17 meter per second. Correct? Let's go ahead. Next question. What would be the force required to stop a car of mass 1000 kg? Okay, we have to stop a car whose mass is 1000 kg. We have to stop it, so its final velocity should be 0 meter per second. And a loaded truck of mass 10,000 kg in 2 seconds. So there is this car and there is this truck whose mass is 10,000 kg and final velocity is 0 meter per second. We have to stop both of them in 2 seconds. So the time for stopping both of them is 2 seconds. If they were moving with the same velocity of 5 meter per second. So their initial velocity, both the vehicle's initial velocity is how much? 5 meter per second. And we have to what? We have to stop them in 2 seconds. We have to make them at rest. The final velocity should become 0. So what would be the force required? So will the force required be same for both the cases? No, definitely not. The force required will not be same for both the cases. Okay, so let's find what is the force required. So I will just make one small change. Here also I'm going to write time as 2 seconds because we have to stop them in 2 seconds, and here also 2 seconds. So what would be the acceleration required to stop the car? AC, acceleration required to stop the car, v minus u upon t, the standard formula of acceleration. You could also use the equation of motion, no problem. Okay, since we have to find acceleration, I'm using directly the formula of acceleration. So 0 minus 5 upon 2, that is minus 2.5 meter per second square. This should be the acceleration of the car. Okay, and what should be the acceleration of truck? Okay, in case of truck, v minus u upon t. So 0 minus 5 upon 2 again. So we are getting minus 2.5 meter per second square. See, so in both the truck as well as car, the acceleration required to be produced is minus 2.5 meter per second square. But what about the force? So force required to stop the car is equal to mass of car multiplied by acceleration produced in the car, which is 1000 multiplied by minus 2.5, which is minus 2500 Newton. In case of truck, it would be mass of truck multiplied by acceleration produced in truck, which is 10,000 multiplied by minus 2.5, which is minus 25,000 Newton, right? So we understand from this particular example that if acceleration is constant, then force is directly proportional to mass. So more force, more mass of a body, more force will be required to stop or start it. Okay, let's check the answer. Correct. A constant force of 5 Newton is applied continuously on a body of mass 10 kg for 4 seconds. Okay, so force is equal to 5 Newton, mass of a body is 10 kg, time for which the force is applied is 4 seconds. The body moves 800 centimeter along a straight line. So displacement is 800 centimeter on the application of force, or after applying force, of course. That is 800 divided by 100, which is 8 meter. What is the velocity of the body when the force was applied initially? Okay, so what was the initial velocity? So we don't know what is the final velocity, but what was the initial velocity they are asking? Okay, let's find it. See, force is equal to mass into acceleration. Do we know force? Yes. Do we know the mass? Yes. Do we know the acceleration? Let's find it out. So acceleration is 5 divided by 10, that is 0.5 meter per second square. Now what? Now we know the acceleration, we know the displacement, we know the time, we have to find the initial velocity. So S is equal to ut plus half at square, second equation of motion. So 8 is equal to u multiplied by t, t is 4 seconds, plus half multiplied by a, that is 0.5, multiplied by t square, which is 4 square. So 8 is equal to 4u plus 0.5 is 1 by 2. 1 by 2 into 1 by 2 is 1 by 4 multiplied by 4 square. This 4 and the 4 square will get cut. So 8 minus 4. See, this 4 which will remain here, it will get subtracted from the left hand side. and 8 minus 4 will be 4 is equal to 4u, and u initial velocity is 4 by 4, which is nothing but 1 meter per second. So the body was moving with a velocity of 1 meter per second when the force was applied on it initially. Let's check the answer. Correct. So see, what I expect from you is you need to note down all these solved examples, all of them. That's important. Let's do the next question. A bullet of mass 25 grams. Mass of the bullet is 25 grams. Let's convert it into kilogram, and because we want everything in SI units, so 25 by 1000. That is 0.025 kg. 0.025 kg. That's the mass of the bullet. Moving with a speed of 100 meter per second. Initial velocity 100 meter per second. Pierces means goes inside, penetrates a bag full of sand kept adjacent to a wall. So this is the sandbag, and the bullet goes inside the sandbag, which is kept in front of or adjacent to a wall. Okay. The bullet stops in the bag after 0.05 seconds. So final velocity of the bullet is 0 meter per second, and the time for which it has traveled inside the sandbag, or the time for the bullet to come to rest once it enters the sandbag, is 0.05 seconds. Find the acceleration of the bullet assuming uniform. Find the acceleration of the bullet. The force exerted by the sandbag on the bullet. The distance covered by the bullet before coming to rest. The distance covered by the bullet before coming to rest. That's it. Okay, so we know the mass, we know VUT, and we don't know AFS. So first thing we are going to do is use the first equation of motion. V is equal to U plus AT. So V is 0, U is 100, plus acceleration we don't know, time is 0.05. So minus 100 is equal to 0.05 into A. Minus 100 upon 0.05 is equal to A. So minus 100 multiplied by 100 upon 5 is equal to A. I just got rid of the decimals. So this acceleration would be minus 2000 meter per second square. This would be the retardation produced from the bullet. Now we managed to find the acceleration. We know the mass of the bullet. Let's find the force. So therefore force is equal to mass into acceleration. Force is 0.025, that is the mass, multiplied by acceleration, which is minus 2000. So there are 3 decimal places and 3 zeros. Let's get rid of them. So 25 multiplied by minus 2, which is minus 50 Newton. Minus 50 Newton, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, force is equal to mass into acceleration. So the force is of minus 50 Newton, which is exerted by the bullet or by the sandbag on the bullet. Resistive force, this one. Okay, the distance covered by the bullet before coming to rest. Now, as the bullet is entering the sandbag, it is, it is facing this acceleration of minus 2000 meter per second square, right? And we know that the initial velocity with which the bullet entered the sandbag was 100. The final velocity becomes 0. The acceleration being minus 2000. We know U, we know V, we know A, and we have to find the S, that is displacement within the sandbag after the bullet enters the sandbag. So we can use this relationship. See, we can use S is equal to UT plus half AT square. right? S is equal to ut plus half at square, because we know the time. We know the time. But we can also use v square is equal to u square plus 2as. Let's use this one, third equation of motion. V square, that is 0 square, is equal to u square 100 square plus 2 into a, that is minus 2000, into s, which we don't know. So this 100 square is 10,000, which will become minus 10,000 on the left hand side, is equal to minus 4,000 multiplied by s. Minus minus gets cut. So 10,000 divided by 4,000. All the three zeros will cut. 2 twos are 2 fives are. So displacement would be 2.5 meter within the sandbag. So we got the acceleration minus 2000 meter per second square, retardation basically. Force minus 50 Newton, retarding force, and displacement of 2.5 meter. Let's check the answer. Correct, correct, and correct. Understood? So this is how you need to apply the formula for force as well, and you need to apply the formula for you need to apply the method of equations of motion as well in many of the questions. Next question. A body of mass 25 kg is kept on a rough horizontal surface. Okay, so mass of the body is 25 kilogram. When a force P is applied to the body in horizontal direction, it moves with a uniform motion. Okay, what will be the acceleration of the particle or the body when 2p force is applied, given p is equal to 5 Newton? So we know that the force is 5 Newton. Okay, when they are saying that when this 5 Newton force is applied in horizontal direction, it moves in uniform motion. It moves in uniform motion. Okay, that uniform motion must be due to the the opposite force of friction. That's why both the forces cancel out each other and the body keeps on moving ahead. Okay, so in that case the acceleration is zero. If the body is moving with uniform motion, the acceleration is zero. But I am more concerned with the second case. In the second case, the mass of the body is 25 kg and the force is 2p. 2p means uh, 10 Newton, right? What will be the acceleration of the particle when 2p force is applied? I think force is equal to mass into acceleration should give us the answer. 10 is equal to, okay. It should not. It should not. Wait, I got the answer actually. Since the body is moving with uniform motion, its acceleration is equal to 0, and therefore resultant force on the body is equal to 0. In the first case, resultant force is 0. Why? Because there are two forces acting on the body. First is force P, which is moving the body in forward direction, and second is frictional force. whose magnitude is equal to P, whose magnitude is 5 Newton, but direction is opposite. You understood the whole thing? In the first case, since the body is moving in forward direction with uniform velocity, that means what? That means that this frictional force in the opposite direction is also 5 Newton. So the net force is 0 and body keeps on moving in forward direction with uniform velocity. Right? So in the second case, what is happening? We are doubling our force. Now friction is still there, but the friction will not increase because the body is same. The mass of the body is not changing. Right? So the frictional force will be still there. That is 5 Newton. The force exerted by us is now double, that is 10 Newton. So what is the resultant force? In the second case, resultant force is equal to 10, that is force applied by us, minus 5, that is force exerted by the frictional force in the opposite direction. So the resultant force is 5 Newton. So what is the acceleration now? Force is equal to mass into acceleration. 5 is equal to 25 into A. So 5 upon 25 is equal to A. So A is equal to 1 by 5, which is 0.2 meter per second square. So now if we double our force, what will happen? The body will move with an acceleration of 0.2 meter per second square. Clear? Perfect. Okay, so this is one velocity time graph which is shown in the diagram. The mass of the ball is 30 gram. Calculate the force acting on the ball. Okay, see, if we want to find the force acting on the ball, let's first find the acceleration. And what is the acceleration from the velocity time graph? It is the slope of velocity time graph. Okay, slope is rise upon run. So this is the rise. It is how much? 40 upon the run. So this is the run. Correct? Which is 3. So acceleration is 40 by 3 meter per second square. This is in second and this is in centimeter. Okay, so this is centimeter per second square. So we found the acceleration. Acceleration is equal to 40 by 3 centimeter per second square, and mass is 30 grams. So we have to find the force. Okay, let's find the force with the formula mass into acceleration. So mass is 30 gram, that is 30 upon 1000. Acceleration is 40 by 3, that is 40 by 3 multiplied by, so I'm converting centimeter to meter, 100. Okay, so this will become 0, 0 will cut, 2 zeros will cut, this 3 will cut with this 3, and 4 upon 1000, that is equal to 1 upon 250. Hey, why am I writing like this? So 4 upon 1000, that is 0.004 Newton. 0.004 Newton. Okay, so the mass of the ball is 30 grams, and from velocity time graph we found the acceleration 40 by 3 centimeter per second square. So force acting on the ball is 0.004 Newton. Let's check the answer. 409, absolutely correct. Next question. Which would require a greater force? Accelerating a 2 kg mass at 5 meter per second square, or 4 kg mass at 2 meter per second square? Let's find out. Case 1, case 2. Variety of questions you are facing here. Which would require a greater force? So force 1 in case 1 would be mass into acceleration. What is the mass? 2. And what is the acceleration? 5. That is 10 Newton is the force 1. Force 2 is similarly 4 multiplied by 2, 8 Newton. So which would require a greater force? The first case. The first case would require a greater force. F1 is greater than F2. A force of 5 Newton gives a mass m1 and acceleration of 10 meter per second square. Okay, case 1. Force of 5 Newton, F is equal to 5 Newton, gives a mass m1 an acceleration of 10 meter per second square. Okay, and mass m2. अच्छा, case 2 ले लेंगे यहाँ पे. So the force is same, 5 Newton. It gives the mass m2 an acceleration of 20 meter per second square. What acceleration would it give if both the masses were tied together? Lovely, lovely, lovely question. What a question, man. What acceleration would it give if both the masses were tied together? So let's first find the individual masses then. See, force is equal to mass into acceleration. So this is m1, correct? So m1 is equal to force upon acceleration in the first case, that is 5 by 10, that is 0.5 kg. In the second case, m2 is equal to force upon acceleration, which is 5 by 20, which is 1 by 4, which is 0.25 kg. So now the if both masses are tied together, if both masses are tied together, force is equal to mass multiplied by acceleration, right? So force, we don't know what acceleration would it give to. Acha, force we know, 5 Newton. What acceleration would it give? So mass is total 0.5 plus 0.25 and acceleration we don't know. So 5 is equal to 0.75 multiplied by A. So 5 divided by 0.75 is equal to A, and acceleration would be 500 upon 75. Now 500 upon 75, let's find out. 25 threes are 25 20s are. So 20 by 3 is 6.67 meter per second square. 6.67 meter per second square will be the acceleration provided by a force of 5 Newton if both the masses were tied together. Let's check. Perfect. A motor car of mass 1200 kg is moving along a straight line. Okay, so mass is 1200 kg. This motor car is moving along a straight line with a uniform velocity of 90 km per hour. Uniform velocity. Okay, I think, okay, let's keep it initial velocity. 90 km per hour. Can we convert it in meter per second? Into 5 by 18. So 25 meter per second. Its velocity slows down to 18 km per hour in 4 seconds. So final velocity is 18 km per hour, which is 18 into 5 by 18, which is 5 meter per second. And this all happens in the time interval of 4 seconds by an unbalanced force. So we don't know the force. Calculate the acceleration and change in momentum. Also calculate the magnitude of force required. That's easy. That's not hot. Okay, so V is equal to U plus AT. V is 5. U is 25. Acceleration we don't know. Time is 4 seconds. So 5 minus 25 is equal to 4a minus 20 by 4 is equal to a. So a is equal to minus 5 meter per second square. Okay, so this is the acceleration. Now what is the change in momentum? Now we know that change in momentum is uh, change in momentum. Let me give you an example. The force is equal to change in momentum upon time. Force is equal to the rate of change of momentum, right? So what is the force? We don't know the force. Let's find out the force. No? Force is equal to mass into acceleration. Let's find out over here. Force is equal to mass into acceleration. So force is equal to 1200 multiplied by minus 5, which is minus 6000 Newton. So minus 6000 is equal to change in momentum upon time. What is the time? 4 seconds. So delta P, or change in momentum, is minus 6000 multiplied by 4, which is minus 24,000 kg meter per second. That is the unit of momentum, kg meter per second. So change in momentum is minus 24,000 kg meter per second. And force is minus 6,000 Newton. And what else they wanted? Acceleration, minus 5 meter per second square. Let's check the answer. Okay, minus 24,000 kg meter per second, force minus 6,000, and acceleration. Absolutely correct. So we found in different order, but that does not matter. We applied correct formulae, correct method, everything is proper. A constant force acts on an object of mass 5 kg. Okay, so we don't know the force. We know the mass of an object. It is 5 kg. For a duration of 2 seconds. Time is 2 seconds. It increases the object's velocity from 3 meter per second to 7 meter per second. Okay, so initial velocity of the object is 3 meter per second and final velocity is 7 meter per second. Find the magnitude of the force applied. Okay, that's easy. Now, if the force were applied for a duration of 5 seconds, what would be the final velocity of the object? I think we did this question just, I think, 4 or 5 questions back. We did a similar question. So I want you to find the answer. So I will pause the video and then we will check the answer. Okay, so this is up to you. Now, I will tell you the idea how to do it. See, first find the acceleration. Using the first equation of motion, v is equal to u plus at, right? Then you know the mass, you know the acceleration, find the force. Now you know the force, and this force is applied for a duration of 5 seconds. After the velocity is 7 meter per second, for a duration of 5 seconds, this force was continuously applied, right? So what will happen? The acceleration which we will find, that will continue to be there for 5 seconds. So we can find the final velocity again using the first equation of motion. Pause the video, solve it, then we'll check the correct answer. Okay, I hope it's done. Let's check the correct answer. First, the force. The force is 4 Newton and the acceleration is 0.8 meter per second square. And in the case 2, the final velocity becomes 11 meter per second. Okay, so this is how to solve this question. We have solved a similar question before that. Now, the final exercise, which I'm going to, okay, there is Newton's third law of motion also, but I'm going to cover that in the next video. The final exercise I will share with you. And those who are having their exams will do the exercise after your exams. But yeah, mostly everybody has to do this homework. Okay, if you have any issues, just let me know. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video. Today I hope you enjoyed the numerical part of this chapter, and I hope now you understand how technically sound this chapter is. It is not just theory. You need to understand a great lot of deal for this chapter. See you in the next video. Bye bye.